here at San Diego Comic Con with Travis Taylor and Jay Stratton. Can you tell me a little bit about what Skinwalker Ranch is?
I don't want any.
Yeah, right. Well, Skinwalker Ranch is this 512 acre property in the middle of Utah. It's about a 3-hour drive due east of Salt Lake City, just to give you some references to where it is. And for more than a century, people have reported in recorded history, reported strange phenomena occurring there, including seeing balls of light and even metallic objects flying into and out of the mesa there. And we know now that we found a petroglyph that's been dated to be 600 to 1,000 years old that depicts something very similar. That this place is been known for, since recorded history, effectively in North America, as strange phenomena occurring there, which include shape-shifting creatures, weird booming, like the voice of God, so to speak, coming to people. And I don't mean God specifically, but that kind of phenomena. UFOs and orbs of light chasing animals, cattle mutilations, animal mutilations, all sorts of really weird, all the weird things you can think of, mix them in a pot, and you got Skinwalker Ranch.
Right.
And this is a real scientific investigation that we're performing there to get to the bottom of it and see what's really happening there. And it's not your typical, we're just chasing, trying to get a picture of a Bigfoot or whatever. I'm not sliding those guys. What I'm saying is this really is a lot of scientific instruments, scientists and visiting scientists as well coming to the investigation. And it stems not just from the present era, but Jay with the U.S. government and DIA, and he can tell you all about it. But had an interest in Skinwalker Ranch back in the late '90s, early 2000s. So Jay, you want?
Yeah. So Skinwalker Ranch is quasi unique spot on the planet, but definitely in the United States, where early in the 2000s, as Travis said, the Defense Intelligence Agency. We started a new UFO program to really kind of dive into the topic again, because things that were being seen, things were being reported, but not being dealt with. And in that process, we led a contract and had one bidder on that contract, and it was a company called Bigelow Aerospace, which is a Las Vegas-based company. Robert Bigelow, billionaire there in the aerospace space industry, was our prime contractor, and he owned Skinwalker Ranch at the time. And as an analyst inside the intel community, you're looking at traditional topics, and you're seeing aircrafts, right, ships, submarines, you name it. Those things you can see. You can go to air shows and see these aircrafts and other things. But what do you do if you're the UFO guy? Where do you go see these things, right? And Robert Bigelow said, hey, one place in the country you can go see these things is Skinwalker Ranch. And we went out to Skinwalker Ranch. And my first day there, I saw something. So it's real. It's there. The investigation that we're conducting to this day is finding new things, and every bit of this is based in reality, but also with a lot of questions, right? This the investigation. We've got all the sensors out there, we got everything going on, but we still don't really understand what we're seeing. But the trend is the phenomena that we see at Skinwalker Ranch is tied to the phenomena of anytime we've got a pilot reporting UAP, UFOs. It's all linked. They're reporting the same kinds of things. The different things that we pick up at the ranch, we get anytime you're near these objects from any other military platform, et cetera. So it's all tied together, and still somewhat of a mystery to what's going on and why.
And the key is, I've talked about this in other forums, is that there is no government funding source in this country to study and investigate, get to the bottom of the UAP thing. There's no real, while there's Arrow now, they're not funding actual research into it. And the best way to get funding to do this is through entertainment. And what better way to do a research project like this, that if you don't get the public to believe you anyway, then you're not going to keep the interest of potential donors, funding places, and so on. And research is expensive. I mean, you got to feed your family for one. You got to have a day job, right? Well, this is our day job, and then you also have to buy equipment. You got to pay people to come and do things. Visiting scientists, you got to pay them, or people don't do things for free. That's just how it works. And what we've discovered is both China and Russia have been taking this very seriously and have big programs, and have had big programs for decades. But the United States isn't, and not. They won't take it seriously for whatever reason. So this is our effort to take it seriously.
So the property right now, is it owned by an individual or a business?
It's owned by Brandon Fugel. He's a Salt Lake City real estate mogul. He's the person who bought it from Bob Bigelow when Bob was done with the ranch. And basically, I think it was so confusing and frustrating for him that he finally, threw in the towel and sold the property. Brandon is really interested in learning. He was originally very skeptical that there was anything to it. And as Jay said, on his first day Brandon went out there, physically, they saw some phenomena that was life-changing for him. And so Brandon then started pushing to have an actual real scientific investigation done on the property.
So any reports of maybe like military bases near the property, any magnetic offsets in the earth, anything that could scientifically explain some of this?
So we've been looking for all of that. We've asked I was a civil servant with the U.S. Army for 28 years. Jay was in with the Air Force and the Navy for 33 years, and we were part of the research for this, part of the teams. We know all the people. We've called everybody. Everybody claims it's not them, it's not us. We're not doing it. And it's really interesting, though. There have been times where we've had military-style aircraft come over and collect. It seemed to be collecting intelligence over the ranch while we're there. So I find it really intriguing and really interesting. And we can't get anyone to own up to it being them. Whether it was some guys doing training and were out touring and sightseeing us and shouldn't have been, right? Or it was someone doing something nefarious without a FISA warrant. Either way, somebody needs to own up to it and let us know what they were doing, because it's been many, many times it's happened.
And you asked about magnetic anomalies. Yes. The entire ranch.
Oh, the entire ranch is one big is an electromagnetic anomaly.
Yeah.
And temporal anomalies, spatial anomaly. I mean, GPS clocks don't work right on the ranch. Other precise clocks we've used fail, lose time, gain time, randomly data cards and cameras, sound bags, all those things. Data cards are randomly pieces of the data will be taken out. Moments that were a particular thing might have been happening that if you'd have had just the right angle on it with this particular camera, well, that camera will have turned itself off, or it was on but recorded all the data card is written to nothing but zeros, right? And then we see that all the time. We have physical evidence of something hacking into our electronic systems. And in fact, we had one instant where I was looking at our live feeds. I was at home in Alabama for the weekend, visiting with my family, and I was looking on my phone at the camera system that we have that I could see through the internet, and I was seeing a physical phenomena occurring on the phone, live on the live feed, and I had called the ranch and had Eric Bard, the principal investigator, go outside and look at that spot, and nothing was happening. But I'm sitting here watching it live on the camera, so something was hacking through our camera system, and we can't. Nobody's ever been able to prove who it was or what it was or how it even could be done. But we have that kind of thing happen all the time.
So the question would be then, from me to you guys, and your opinion on this, besides, aliens, UFOs, government interference, let's say, do you think that it could be anything supernatural? Do you think it could be ghostly, demonic?
Well, so I don't like the the idea or the words paranormal, supernatural, because they suggest something that can't be understood, right? And if we put it in that box, then it's in the box that can never be understood. Then it doesn't do us any good. But I'll tell you this: the rabbi Ariel Zadok pointed something out to me once, and I had him out to the ranch because he saw a Navajo ritual that looked very similar to a Hebrew ritual, and so we had him come do the Hebrew ritual, and some really interesting phenomena occurred when he did. But he said, "Well, what's the definition of an angel, or a demon, or a god? They're not of this earth. That makes them an extraterrestrial."
Huh.
So, whatever is going on, be it something from the, you say it's something maybe say for the afterlife or spiritual, that could be part of the universe we just don't understand yet, right? And so I put it in the box like that, as opposed to it being something that couldn't be understood, as opposed to us looking at it from what we can understand and developing a better understanding of the universe. And I think the ranch has really given us an opportunity to do that.
And we just had the season 5 finale, and I had some of the last words on the final episode, and I was asked what's next, right? And so it's trying to communicate. Something's trying to communicate. It's how we understand it. You know, call it whatever you want to call it, but something does seem to be communicating or attempting to. So if we can get to the point where we can understand that, maybe it's, you know, life-changing message, or where it's somebody's shopping list, you know, who knows. Yeah, but we gotta tune in.
I was gonna say, it does seem like you hear 5 seasons. There's got to be a lot of interest out there, you know, after checking some of the episodes out and stuff like that. I'm into aliens and all this other stuff that goes on. I was in the Navy myself for 8 years, and I was deployed. And when we'd be out at sea, we would see whatever. And it's just like in the middle of nowhere. But we all know there's something going on out there. But it's just stuff that we just communicate it back to the ship, and then the ship communicates to Washington. And that's how sort of like, yeah, there's maybe something that's out there, but.
And it came to us.
It actually came to us. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, just knowing that, and you know, being part of the show for 5 seasons, how do you feel about it? Like, do you think you're like? I understand. It feels like you're reaching a lot of people. How do you feel? Like, are you getting more and more people to tune in and bring up questions to you guys? You know, stuff like that. Is it?
Yeah, certainly the general public seems to be paying attention.
Yeah.
And not only that, we've had a lot of congressional and Senate interest, some state government interest. So people are paying attention in a way they've never paid attention before. And what's really interesting, you know, they always say when the naysayers start screaming the loudest is when you know you're right over target. Yeah. Well, the debunkers, they go out of their way through all sorts of crazy explanations to debunk everything that we say. And instantly. I mean, I literally was on a stage, not unlike here at Comic-Con, on stage presenting some data. Before I walked off the stage, a particular debunker had already posted what my charts that were on the screen that he had screen captured from a podcast or a stream, and was already putting it on X, debunking it, right? That's how vigilant that debunking community is, which, but specifically to us two, really a lot.
Right.
And so to me, it leads me to think, man, we must really be, you know, scratching a nerve that somebody doesn't want to scratch it.
You know, we're hitting the mark because the debunking has gone from debunking the data through some little lens to attacking us personally.
Yeah.
Right. And then trying to say, well, they're not even credible.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we're at, I think.
So I think that we're in a really good position, really good time. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch is a perfect platform for us to reach more and more people. I mean, and I think it's called the Curse of Skinwalker Ranch in Europe, in that market. But we're reaching them as well. So we're globally reaching out to people to see that. And here's the thing: 0 of what you see on the show is made up. Nothing. Right. It's made. Everything is 100%. The only thing that might be, say, out of time or whatever would be like something happened and somebody says, "Hey, look at that," but they're wanting the camera pointed in that direction.
Yeah.
And so they'll say, wait a minute, would you say that again? Or they'll come back a week later, oh, we forgot, we didn't get that video of you saying that. Would you say it again? That would be the only thing that anybody could say was TV production, right? The rest of it is completely the scientific investigation. And what I tell people, this isn't a TV show. It's a documentary of a scientific investigation. And that's the key importance and difference from your typical, paranormal hunting show, so to speak, right? This is the show is our platform for showing the results of our research.
Good.
When you're on the property, do you feel different?
Cool.
It depends on what's going on. There have been times where phenomena have occurred that have had effects. We had one guy that we were sitting at a table, not much bigger than this, talking, and he just fell over and grabbed his head in extreme pain. And we rushed him off to the emergency room, and he had some sort of event, and he lost a few hours of time, and he don't remember things that happened that we tell him, this is what happened while you were there. And he actually talked to his wife while he was there, and then the next morning he called his wife, started telling her, so she said, well, you told me this last night. She said, I didn't talk to you. But of course the phone records say that he did, and his wife says he did. So these things occur. We have one guy that's fairly regular out there. He's from the rocket company that we use, and every time he gets there, when things start to happen, he says he feels like he's in an MRI machine, and he'll get goosebumps all over his body, and his hair will stand up on his arms and stuff, and he's like, I'm tingling all over. And then he's kind of like a canary, we know something's about to happen. And I've had a couple of events, and I think probably 50% of the people that go there, something happens. There are people that nothing ever happens to.
Kind of like those spidey senses, right? You feel something, the human instinct, everything just starts standing up, and you're like, there's something happening. And you get that like walking down the street, but there's actually something happening. Like you're like, oh, somebody, or a ball flies by or something, but you get that tingling. Right?
The human body is an amazing sensor. It's got a bunch of different sensors that we truly don't understand. And you got a quantum computer up here in your brain processing it all real time, faster than any supercomputer. And so you could be, that sixth sense is really the combining of all those senses and seeing data that you don't really realize is there. How do you know that somebody's sneaking up behind you sometimes? Because you feel it sometimes, right? So you probably picked up a change in the air temperature, or a smell, or a sound, or just something that you weren't conscious of, but your brain processed it and gave you that fight or flight reflex or something. Right?
I mean, again, sniper school, they tell you not to stare at your target because
they'll
some kind of sixth sense, like
they'll know you're looking.
You get this feeling, and out at the ranch, I mean, the part that you can't really show on the television aspect of it is this emotional response you get. You ask how you feel out there. I feel great most of the time, but there are times when you feel things that are completely unexplainable. You shouldn't be afraid, but now you're afraid. This makes no sense. You shouldn't be angry, but now you're angry. You shouldn't be sad, but now you're sad. I mean,
and it happens like that. And in fact, in part of our safety briefing, when anybody new comes on, we actually tell them the ranch affects everybody differently, and it may affect you in a way that you may suddenly get nauseous or dizzy, like vertigo. You may start getting really mad. You may have some hyper emotional state. You may just kind of be in a daze, like sort of catatonic. It could happen. It could happen in any way. You might just start tasting some of the signs, though. Early signs is tasting metallic taste in your mouth or smelling burned plastic. And what we've learned is there's a chemical response in your brain that those are the two things that your brain, when it's exposed to electromagnetic fields, it'll trigger that sense. While you're not actually smelling burned plastic, that's what your brain is perceiving. And the same way with the metallic taste. And so we watch for those as signs that something's happening, that you're more susceptible to it. So we need to move you away from the phenomena, because we don't know how it's going to affect you if you stayed there. And so that's kind of how we approach it.
Yep.
Is there anything that you'd like to tell fans or newcomers to the series?
if you're a newcomer, you need to watch all the old episodes because you've not seen all the build up and why we're doing what we're doing. Because this has been an evolving, ongoing scientific investigation with a lot of rigor. And one thing that you must realize is everybody says, why didn't you go do this? Or why didn't you do this thing? Or why didn't you do that thing after you did that thing? Well, we did those things, but it didn't make it into the 42 and a half minutes that they put on the television show, right? Because we have thousands of hours of footage and data and sensor information for each episode that they have to cut down into 42 and a half minutes. And so if you are looking at that, you realize, well, okay, I understand why if you actually did it, it probably either gave you the same results or something not worth watching, and so it didn't make it the cutting room floor. Now, I will tell you, we do have an insider's website that we do discuss about the things deeper, so you can look for that if you're interested. But
and you can monitor the cameras 24/7.
Oh yeah, we have cameras live there too. But and we've actually had people spot things that then has led us to going and doing other investigations for the show and for the research. But I would say the first thing to realize is that we're not blowing smoke up your butt. This isn't made up. It's not a fake show. Everything is happening in the moment. When we act excited and say, holy crap, what is that? We really mean, holy crap, what is that? Because we don't know what it is. And as you saw, or if you saw the panel earlier, apparently there's a montage. I'm becoming a meme, I guess. I'm saying, holy crap. Or what the crap, or what the world is that?
You're trending.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the key, right? Nothing's faked. It's all real. Nothing's scripted. And we're not actors. Because my show might be a hell of a lot better if we were actors.
Yeah, right.
So
You're on season 5. You're doing good.
Yeah, we're starting season 6 Monday.
Yeah, so there
right.
you go.
So the only thing scripted is basically an experiment script. You know, we're going to do this experiment this way. At this time, we're doing this. At that time, we're doing that. At that time, we're doing that. And whatever happens, and nothing ever happens the way we have it.
I was going to say, requires, it's dynamic, right? Nothing nothing survives enemy contact.
I mean, some of the best things we find, or we were planning to do something, we start doing it, then something happens over here, and we shift focus completely. We run and do that, and we get some of the craziest, most amazing stuff that we'd seen. And that's just the way it is. That's what happens. And again, it can happen at any time of day, any time of night. You know, it's a crazy place.
And we're collecting 24/7, so you can always go back and, like you said earlier, sometimes you find this, you don't necessarily find it all real time. You find it later. Yeah.
Oh, we've got
It's a lot of time.
We've got petabytes of data that we still haven't gone through, and who knows what's in it, right?
No. Awesome.
Well, I want to thank you guys for your time, and I hope you're enjoying San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
It's great to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet y'all. Thanks for having us.
Good.